Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 5 14IIL05. Alright, so the label's all screwed up, but the customer was able to get a screenshot of something somewhere, and I hope that's the right model. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to be using a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver to remove all the screws from the bottom. Multiple of them are already missing. But yeah, keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern. I remove them. So there's 3 along the back here. All right, then you got 1 on either side here. They're all missing, and then we got 4 down here. So we're gonna remove all of those. Okay. And the reason we're taking this thing apart is their keyboard's malfunctioning. So we're actually going to replace the entire keyboard palm rest assembly. The reason why we're not just replacing the bare keyboard is because it's actually held in with like melted plastic, and trying to pop that thing out is a huge pain. It's not even worth the cost difference. So yeah, I mean, if you're trying to save like $20 to give yourself like hours of a headache and you're gonna end up with worse condition, then go for it. But you can see there's all these little melted plastic holes here that hold that in. That's a huge pain to remove and then put it back and everything. It's not worth the time, effort, and risk of it being worse quality. And then if it doesn't work properly, then you did all of that for nothing. Anyways, we got all those screws out. I'm gonna use my fingernails in this gap here, and then I'm gonna push with my thumb on the palm rest. Oh, I guess they have the auto on thing. No wonder why their battery was like dead. I had to plug it in. I'm gonna shut it down. Okay, you want to make sure obviously that your computer is off. This one turned itself on. All right, you saw I popped all those clips out. So after you do that, if it doesn't pop up that easily, I slide my fingernail in the gap while I'm kind of lifting this and it will help pop it out. But that came out really easily. So yeah, there we go. We'll set that aside. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and remove the battery. But let's go ahead and get a thumbnail real quick. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and remove the battery. Now we're going to switch over to a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver, and we're going to undo all the screws holding the battery down. So we got one there, got one here. Okay, got one over here. I think there's just 4 of them. All right, and one more down here. Okay, now that we got all 4 screws out, let's see if we can lift the battery carefully, slowly. Okay, so I'm going to start from here and lift it. And then to pull the battery out, I like to get underneath with my finger, all right, and then pinch both sides like that, and then wiggle this side to side as you kind of pull, and then it should come out relatively easily. There you go. There's the battery. We'll set that aside. Okay, so there we go. All right, next we got to open up the laptop carefully, slowly, okay, since there's less screws helping hold the hinges down. And then we're going to press and hold the power button here for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. All right, this is very important since we're going to be removing the screen LCD LVDS connector. You want to make sure to drain the power, because if there's still power in the capacitors, it can actually arc across, and then it can damage the backlight circuit, it could damage the cable, it could damage the connector on the board itself. So yeah, 15 seconds could save you a few blah 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 whatever. Could save you however many percent, whatever the Geico commercial says. All right. All right, so we got all of that. Now that we drained the power from there, at least I hope we did, it was kind of like mushy feeling. I'm gonna push down this a little bit and then push it because it didn't feel like the button was going in all the way. So I want to just make sure. I'll just hold it a few more seconds just in case. All right, next thing, we got to look at the replacement part and see what we got here. So they even broke the plastic here, so I guess it's good. We're going to have that replaced as well. So you can see what we have, the 2 antennas here, and then you got everything else is part of the other thing. So we're going to have to transfer over the touchpad, but the keyboard itself, it's going to just have this cable needs to fold a certain way, and then the backlight cable here is also going to fold a certain way. Yeah, I think everything else needs to be migrated over. So this is somewhat going to be a pain, but hopefully not too bad. All right, we'll flip this latch up here. Once you do that, oops, let me zoom in so you guys can see. So there's this little cable here. This is the LCD LVDS connector. Flip that latch up. Then you can pull this cable slightly up, and while you're pulling it up, pull it back, and it will come out. Just like that. This one, the design looks kind of nice because the hinges and everything, or the antennas and everything seem to be all down here. So these are the antennas, these copper things, and then they have the actual chip stuck on like right here. Okay, so we don't have to worry about too much in the screen. I think it's just this one cable, which that's nice because then that means the camera and everything is all in that one cable. So we're gonna slowly, carefully open this up. Okay, so we'll open it up to kind of flatten it out. And the reason we're doing that is so we have access. Normally I would do it this way, but oh wait, you can still see the hinges. Okay, so now that we have it open like that, we can actually start taking out all these hinge screws. Keep track of them. You can see there isn't a screw there and isn't a screw there. So the ones towards the center, towards the actual hinge itself, those are screws that are from the outside. So this hinge has 3 screws. We're going to take those out. Okay, take those 3 out. And then this one has 2 screws. We'll take those 2 out. Again, put them all in the pattern you remove them so you can keep track of it. All right. Okay, so now we got all of those out. Let's see if we can lift the hinge up. Okay, as you can see, the hinge separates. Oh, there's one more cable hidden underneath. So we need to figure out where that's going because, are you serious? Am I gonna have to take the whole heatsink out? So this cable goes here, but that goes underneath. So I hate when they do that, but it looks like that might have to happen. Let's see if we can do it without it. I'm gonna try and skip that to see if I can lift the board enough that I can just shift it over. So let's go ahead and take the fan out here. So we got 1 screw here. And the only problem is now I have all these screws in my way. So let me, okay, I'm gonna try and move some screws out of my way so I have more room to work and show you guys what's happening. Sorry for this added extra time. Obviously you can fast forward if you don't want to see that, but I'm gonna move that and let's see, because I want to see if I can take the fan out, and then if we can, then we can work on that separately. So fan, okay, it's wobbling. We're gonna get this connector out. So the way I do that, you see the wings here, I just wiggle, 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 just like that. Make sure that you're just grabbing the connector itself and wiggle it, and there we go. All right, make sure you're not pulling on the white part, just the black part. All right, so you can see now we can actually lift this up and we can kind of flip it over. Oh, I guess that's good because there's some dust in there that we need to get out. Look at that. Okay, looks kind of burnt. Interesting. Usually it's only like that when there's like smoke or fire in the house, maybe from incense or something. Okay, because I don't think this person smokes at all. So clean off that dust there. Okay. So now let's see, can we lift this board out? So we're gonna try and get these other components out. You got this one, make sure you flip the right side so the latch is on that side. Okay, so flip this side up, lift it slightly, pull that back. Same thing with this smaller one, lift that up and then pull this up slightly and pull it back. That's for the touch print or the fingerprint. This is a fingerprint reader. This is for the IO board here. Okay, I know it's going off camera because this stuff is in the way. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Okay, we got the keyboard backlight connector. Flip that latch up, pull that out. Keyboard connector, the latch is on the opposite side. Flip that up and then wiggle and pull that out. All right, and we got the, oh no, you can't even see this one. Let's see, is there a way I can show this? There's too much stuff. I have too many things here. Okay, so this one down here, the purplish one, that's for the touchpad. Flip that latch, pull that out. Wireless card here, I'm gonna undo the, well, we're gonna replace the antenna, so we'll go from the tail, pull straight up, just like that on both sides. Go from the tail, pull straight up. Right, we can actually leave the wireless card attached there. We're gonna unthread the wireless cards from, or the wireless antennas from that little groove. You got the speakers here we're gonna have to migrate over. So the speakers, well, the connector here, let's kind of wiggle that, same thing, grab the wings and just wiggle it. Okay, make sure you're just, again, grabbing the wings of the black part. If you want, I don't know if I can even show this here, but you can lift the speaker out of this groove. Okay, so there's no screws holding it, you just kind of lift it up. Actually, is this caught underneath? Oh no. Okay, I guess the speaker's caught underneath, so we're gonna grab the wings here and then just wiggle to pull that out, and then we'll worry about taking the speakers out after. because it looks like we can't do it right now. Oh man, this speaker connector is really tough in there. Jeez. Okay, let's see. I might have to, let's see if I can use my thumbnails, because my thumbnails are stronger. But if I can't, then I'm gonna have to use the needle nose pliers. Okay, so wiggle, 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 wiggle. Come on. Jeez, why is this connector in there so strong? There we go. Got that disconnected. All right, is there anything holding this motherboard down? We got 2 screws over here we're gonna have to take out. They're over the USB-C port, so let's go ahead and remove those 2. Okay, set those aside. What else? What else is holding it down? It feels like some screws are really holding it down. Like this thing. Okay, there's one in the middle here. Don't forget that one. They're actually like arrows showing where it is. Okay, you can see we can kind of lift this up. So we're gonna lift this side of the board up, or not the board, the screen, and then we can tilt this up and hopefully wiggle and pull this out. Okay. They're not hiding any screws under there, right? Are there hiding any cables under there? I don't see anything. So we're gonna lift this, and you can see now we got that out. But this cable is still plugged in and hooked over here. So let's see, how can we manage this? Can we transfer the whole thing? You can see we can, okay, so this cable is here. So to avoid unplugging it, I'm gonna peel this up. Okay, see that? So this whole cable will come out, and it will come with the whole motherboard. Oh, the fan's separating here. So you can see the connector is right there. You could technically peel the adhesive that's on top and get that out without taking everything out, but I'm gonna leave it intact. And we're just gonna flip that over, get that out of the way. You can see, all right, because we're trying to do minimal to replace the keyboard for them. They don't need all the other pulling everything out, redoing the thermal paste, all that. All right, their cooling was just fine. You don't want to mess with the thermal paste if you don't have to. So here's the original one. I'm gonna set the screen and stuff aside now. Okay, the screen and the motherboard and all that. It's nice we were able to get that all out at once. Now we got this, so we gotta transfer little components over. So we got this guy, one screw. Okay, you gotta carefully wiggle it, lift this side up and get that out. So we got that one. Also, the little components, they have arrows pointing on it where the screws were, so that's where that screw goes. Okay, so it's kind of a nice design to keep track of. All right, you can see the speakers were underneath the motherboard, so very annoying design. We're gonna get that out. So for this, you're gonna have to remember what you did last, all right? See, this antenna is going on top of the speaker cable. That's very unnecessary. You can do it the other way if you want. Okay. Next, we gotta remove the fingerprint reader board here. Okay, so unscrew. Once you undo that, we should be able to take this metal thing out, lift it slightly, and then wiggle it to pull it back. Okay, here's the fingerprint board. You can push that through, as you can see. It comes out very easily. Set that aside. Okay, what's next? We're running out of room here. We're getting too many things. Okay, so touchpad, 4 screws it looks like. And I think that's gonna be about it. And then we just gotta reassemble. Oh, maybe not. They're being cheapos here. Are you serious? Okay, we're gonna have to migrate the magnets, it looks like. Hopefully we can get the magnets out. So there's a magnet here, here, and here. They don't have those in the replacement, so we're gonna have to migrate those over. I'm gonna use a marker just to draw on top so I know which side is up. Okay, this one already kind of has a thing on it, but I'm gonna just put blue because my marker's blue, so I know that I did it and I know what's on top. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look again to see what else we're missing. I think that's everything. Are you serious? What is this? Oh, that's just a foam pad. We don't really need that piece. What else? What is that? Are you serious? Okay, so it's missing the little, it's missing this little thing that helps the charge light shine through, so we have to pull that out. Okay, let's see how I can get that out. I don't know how I'm gonna get that out. We'll see. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna use maybe this. Let's zoom in. Okay, there's too many components over here. First, actually, let's take the touchpad. So we took the 4 screws out, right? Let's see if we can just pop this up. So flip that up, and you see it goes over there, and then you just pull that out. So to get it back in, you have to slot it underneath. All right, we'll set that aside now. Okay, how are we gonna get this little piece out? Let's start putting stuff back first so we have room to work here. All right, let's go ahead and put the touchpad in first. So make sure the cable for the keyboard is out of the way. Be careful, this cable's somewhat fragile, so you don't want to like bend it up too much. You see how it has some creases, but you don't want to get too much because you can damage it. All right, so make sure to hold that out of the way. Let it drop into place. Okay, that's good. There we go. All right, so now that's good. We can put the 4 screws for the touchpad back in. Sorry, I know I'm going out of view of the camera, but you get the idea. Simple, straightforward. Okay. Get that in. Okay. This guy, same thing. I like to twist it backwards if you notice to hear it click first. That way I know the screw dropped into the right place, and then I tighten it down. Okay. There we go. Alright, so now we got the touchpad back in. It's all clicky. We're going to go ahead and put the fingerprint reader back in. So you have this square. Just drop this into place. Okay. It has little raised pokey things there that help you align it. So you just drop it and it should go in onto those. So there you go. That's holding. So there's one dot there and then another raised point there. Make sure that you don't get the keyboard stuck underneath. All right, so we'll get that in. Put that in place. Make sure none of the other cables are getting trapped in the way. Okay, this thing, again, you gotta wedge it back under there. So there's these 2 parts here that this thing wedges underneath. That. All right, push it in, wiggle it, and then get this raised portion thing here, and then the circle for the screw there. Okay, then we'll just again turn the screw backwards, get it into place, and tighten it down. And there we go. Okay. Then double check, make sure it looks okay. All right, the fingerprint reader looks good. We're gonna go ahead and get the speakers back in. So speaker number 1, just get that. It has the raised peg, drop it in, good. And if you want to copy it before, then if I remember correctly, all these were out of the way. How was this? I don't remember. Did it just go across like that? I think it did. Okay, so I just know the white wire was on top, so we're gonna peel this tape off. Okay, I'm gonna peel these up, and then we'll get this over there. I don't know if the black wire matters, but yeah, it doesn't really matter whether it's on top or below, so you can decide if you want the antennas on top or below. It doesn't really affect anything. Okay, so we'll get those there, and then slot that in, and slot this one. There we go. Then we can go ahead and put these wires back in. Okay, this one, in the original one, it's going around this way, but again, see, I don't think it matters. So then we'll tuck this down there, and then get out of my way, and then we'll tuck that one there. The white one goes there, it tucks into that little groove. and it tucks into this groove, and then it goes up there. So there we go, we got that all into place. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get this board into place here. So this one, kind of line it up, line up the USB ports, get everything in. Okay, looks good. Make sure all the screw mounts look lined up, and then we'll get this screw in. Just like that. All right, it's looking good. We got to transfer over those few things that we're missing, and then hopefully we'll be good. All right, so let's go ahead and get this. And I'm gonna have to find a way to scrape this thingy, and hopefully it will just transfer over. Sorry, the lighting is very bad, I can see that, but it is what it is. All right, so this is going in between the screw here. So let's see if we can scrape it up and out. It's not quite coming out, so I'm gonna use the pointy end and just try and help scrape it up. Jeez, I don't know if it's gonna. Okay, so we got that. All right, we're gonna set that aside for now. And how does this come out? Is it just a foam pad? So I don't know if you can even see. So you see that? There's like a foam pad holding that. Let's try and get that out. Oh, that's it? Okay. So there's just a foam pad, and then that thing is just sitting there. So let's try and peel this all out. Man, I think that I might be tearing this thing, but okay. All right, they didn't include it. So it is what it is. I'm doing what I can. All right, so we got this circle. There's a little cutout hole in it. Okay. And then this plastic piece. All right. So I couldn't tell which way it was going, but I'm assuming you see how there's like a taller extra portion of that. So I'm gonna have that. If you look at the slot, the circle, the hole there is also off center, so it's further this way. So we're gonna try and put it the same way there. I hope that's right, like that. Okay, now we've got to somehow get that little circle or that foam back on there. I don't know how this is gonna work. Maybe I need to do the foam first. Let me use some tweezers here. It'll make it easier. So we're gonna use some tweezers. We'll grab this, and then this is kind of a pain. So I'm gonna thread this through here, and I think the thicker portion was facing towards the top of the laptop. So I'm gonna get that on there. Okay, so here you can see how it goes through that hole. Okay, and I'm gonna use the tweezers and just slot it into place there. It's so hard to do this, man. Jeez. Come on. Face the right way. Stop. Okay. Go. Get that in. Now that we got that in, push the foam down to kind of hold it in place. All right. Also, this looks a little bent here. Jeez. Already from factory. Can I bend it back a little? Okay, there we go. It's a lot better. All right. So this they probably pulled from another computer, but I don't know why they would take all the magnets out. That's stupid. All right, so we got this other longer foam piece that was just in here. So you can actually see the little cutout in it, and that wedges between there. So wedge it in there, okay? And then we'll stick that down. All right, those magnets tend to be very important because without the magnets, it's not gonna detect when the screen is opened or closed all the way. So yeah, we do need to transfer those over. We can't just leave them. These wireless antennas usually are reusable for other laptops, so you can actually peel these out. And well, if you work on other computers, you can peel these out and then you can save them for other computers if the antenna slot, the hole is the same. You can actually reuse these and put them inside. The only thing is you probably won't have enough slack. So depending what kind of computer you're replacing. So this one has plenty of slack, so we can take this one and we can use that. Probably it'll be more useful instead of just throwing in the garbage, because the customer's gonna just throw in the garbage. You can ask them if they want it, but they're gonna be like, what do I want that for? What am I gonna do with that? But sometimes people will be like, hey, you can have it if you give me money, and I'll be like, I don't need it that bad. Anyways, so we're gonna get this out somehow. We'll try to get the magnets out because there are 3 magnets, so we need to migrate those. Okay, so I'm gonna try using a really small flathead screwdriver, and we're just gonna wedge it in the side. The thing is, the magnets are gonna pull the screwdriver away from you. But oh, there we go. Actually, it came out pretty easily. So you can see, good thing I wrote blue on it because the back has black. If you want, you can also write something like left and right so you know which side is which, or mark only a certain spot. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead. You see, this one is nice. They actually have a little thing that it'll slot into. So we'll just push that back down into there, and hopefully it will go in. There we go. Okay, so that one's good. There we go. 1 magnet down, 2 to go. I was worried they were going to be more difficult to get those magnets in, but not too bad. All right, so same thing. Lift this side. All right, same thing. Good thing I wrote blue on it because you can see there's black on there. So I don't want to get confused with whatever their markings are. I'll know what my markings are, but I don't know what theirs are. So I'll push this one in as well. Oh, that's one thing I noticed. Okay, you see that? This one has these little... It's almost like a clip that it kind of goes over the magnet. The old design doesn't have a clip there. It's just a little slot. So nothing is really holding it except the friction. It doesn't have anything on top. All right, so this one, how am I going to get this out? So there's a raised part here, and then this one it's right over there. So maybe I can lift from this side, this corner. I just got to get the thing in there, right? I can slide it over a little, and then maybe I can lift this up. Nope, let's try and lift from here. Okay, we can lift this just over that raised portion and then pull it out. Okay, pull that out. All right. Again, you want to mark it in a way that you know which side is left, right, because you don't want to flip it upside down like this and then put it in wrong. So it's always a good idea to mark it a way that you'll be able to figure out to put it back the right way. Okay, I think we got everything out that we need from this thing. I don't see anything else. This is garbage now. Technically, the customer or you can keep it to use in case, like sometimes people accidentally rip keys off of here. So it's nice to have it just in case. If you're holding on to it, I don't know. I have a tough time keeping track of all the parts I saved up from other things. So for me, they'll end up just sitting until they become garbage. So whatever works for you, yeah, do that. All right, so this magnet is going to be kind of tough. We're going to try and push it back in. Okay, it went in. You can see it's a little wobbly, but it's okay. It shouldn't be able to come out on its own, especially not like from just gravity. Something would have to kind of pry it up. So there we go. Now we got to get the whole screen assembly, motherboard, everything back in. Okay, so I'm going to try and clear a little more room here again so that I can kind of get more of what's going on in the video. Let's see here. Oh, the one thing you'll want to keep the old one for is obviously you'll want to see how the cables, the keyboard cables and the touchpad cable or the backlight cable, everything is connected. All right, we're gonna take these little sleeves off the wireless antennas because we don't need these here. All right, and you can toss those or you can keep them. Maybe I'll put them on the old broken one, but yeah. All right, so let's see what screws. I took some screws out. I want to make sure I get them in the right spot. Those two are for the fan, and then those three. Okay, so we're gonna now take the old board here. Let me move some stuff out of the way, or the screen, sorry. We're gonna slide this all the way up. Okay, the motherboard obviously needs to go underneath, so we're gonna flip this back over. Right, be careful because this fan, you can see it's just flopping all over the place. Now we're gonna line up this, drop it back into place. Oh, the magnets are trying to steal the screws. Okay, so we'll drop that into place and line this up. There we go. Okay, to be safe, we can actually put those in first just to hold it into place. What is that, dust? What's that? Oh, it is dust. Let's clean that up a little. Okay, get that back in, drop it into place. Come on, come on. Okay, drop that in. We got the 3 screws holding this one. We'll put those in first. I'm going to loosely fit it first. That way I can make sure everything is lined up. Okay. And we can just loosely, don't tighten these up yet until we get all the hinges and everything in, so we can make sure everything is good and lined up properly. Make sure these cables do end up back on top. All right. We're going to carefully have to line this up, get this back over here. Okay, I'm not worried much about that cable under there because it's just gonna fall into wherever it needs to fall in, so don't worry too much about that. You do want to make sure that obviously the wireless antennas come back out. That's gonna be somewhat of a pain, and also the speaker cable. So pull these out of there. Okay, get that up, and then I'm going to use a little thin tool here to get underneath to lift the speaker cable out into the open. And then grab that and just make sure it ends up back on top. Okay, and this, we kind of have to go somewhat at an angle, but this is also in the way, so you kind of have to monitor all the little components, get everything to go in just right, and then drop it into place. This one's, okay, that one's good. That one's good. The wireless antenna, the black one went back underneath. Okay, I'm going to use this to help pull it out. Okay, we'll just unthread it there for now. Get these cables back on top. Okay, these are already flopped down, so we don't have to worry about it. And then we gotta angle this right. All right, so there we go. Oh, the touchpad cable as well. Make sure that's on top. Okay, and this was in properly, and now it went back up for some reason. What is it getting caught on? Come on. What are you getting caught on? Go back down. Oh, there we go. It's this little plastic nub that was sticking up. You want to be very careful with those. There's a lot of like little pieces that just stick out. All right, so we're gonna get the screws that were holding the motherboard down. One on this side of the USB-C port, and one on this side of the USB-C port. And then we had the one motherboard screw in the middle here. All right, line up the fan. Okay, get the connector in there, pinch that in, good. Get the 2 fan screws in. I'll loosely fit it first again because we want to make sure everything lines up. Okay, now that we got both, I like to pull this towards the heatsink to make sure it's as close as possible. Tighten the screw down. All right. And again, you want to make sure all these cables are on top. You don't want anything going underneath. All right, we have this. Well, I'll show that later because I'm going to try and get a close up here for you guys. All right, so we got to get this lined up now. Make sure, again, there's all those like plastic little things that stick up to help align stuff. So make sure you get it lined up right. Okay, so we're going to loosely, not like completely loosey, but not completely tight. Just turn it until it doesn't really turn anymore. All right, now we're gonna close the screen back up. So just close it up like that. All right. Okay, now I'm gonna loosen these a little bit so there's a little more play, and then we can make sure everything's lined up. What I like to do is push down where the hinges are, and then, oh, what is going on here? Is there something trapped? Okay. Oh, that was dangerous. Good thing I didn't push down here. A screw randomly went in between here somehow. All right, so push that down. Okay, And then what we're gonna do, so let's see, okay, now we can go ahead and tighten down the hinges, but you do want to make sure these edges are all lined up. Okay, they look good, so let's go ahead now and tighten the hinges, tighten it all the way. Right, use a bit of force after it stops, but don't like twist too hard. You don't want to crack the motherboard, obviously. If that's not obvious, I don't know. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and get this in. Let me zoom in here now, so since I have more room all over the desk, we're gonna go ahead and tilt this downwards. So basically the opposite of how you took it out. Instead of pulling this up, you're pulling it up to angle the front down, right? And then get this in. It should go in easily. If it's not going in, you see how it's kind of being weird. You don't want to try and force it in. You don't want to bend the cable. Just readjust, wiggle it around, and there you go. Okay? Then flip that latch down. I like to use my finger to just slide on top, because if you try and pry it with some tool, I've had people rip these little pieces off and then they're not going to be able to get those back. Usually you can put it back, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to have a really tough time. All right? So here we go. Okay, we've got the little speaker cable here. You can also see how the cable has the little exposed metal pins facing up. That's how you want to keep it. They put a little dot there, but if you get a replacement speaker, there's a chance it might not have those. Also, this is an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD, so if you replace the SSD, you can upgrade it with another M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. If you're wondering, GPU is under here, CPU is under here. They're both soldered. You can't upgrade them. You can't replace it. I mean, somebody might say, yeah, you can, you just need, but you need some special tools. If you, usually if people ask that question, they're not going to have the kind of tools to be able to do it, and those kind of tools are super expensive, so you're not going to go out and buy it to try and do that. It's be way more cost effective to just buy a new computer at that point. All right, so we got the black wire. We're going to go ahead and first route it through there. The white wire goes through that, and then it curves here, and then wait, what did I do? Oh, I'm dumb. That goes here, okay, and then it curves around, and then it goes over here, and this portion goes underneath the motherboard. I don't know if you can see, so I tucked that underneath the motherboard. Okay, so this one, same thing, it follows that curve, goes into that slot, then you get that, goes underneath the motherboard, and then comes out this little groove there. Okay, so black wire, I didn't pay attention the first time, but usually black wire is going to go to the black arrow and white arrow is going to go to the white arrow. It shouldn't really matter if you plug in the wrong one in the wrong spot. The antennas are pretty much the same. The only difference is the length of the wire to it. So in theory, the shorter the wire, the better the antenna, but it's going to be so negligible that you won't really notice anything. All right, this wire is not turning the right way, so I'm going to pull out the extra slack and then readjust it, and hopefully that will get it to work right. Get back under there, get back over there. Okay, now there we go. Right, line that up. And the way you know this is good is like you, when you line it up, you see it like hooks on there, and then that's how you know it's on, and then you just push it down all the way. Come on. There we go. All right. Okay, so now we've got the black wires and the white wires for the antennas in. We've got the touchpad trackpad. Make sure that latches up. Same thing, get that in. And it does, again, need to go in slightly at an angle. So get that, and then tilt it, and there you go. You can see the wings go past the little raised mounts there. Slide your finger over to latch that down. All right, you got the keyboard backlight cable here. Flip that latch up, get that in. Right, now that that's in there, slide your finger over to latch it down, and you can see there's all this extra slack. If you want to make sure, because if you just put the battery, it'll smash this, but I like to basically push this to follow that groove, and then you can go ahead and push that down to crease it. That way when you put something, you see it will push it into that little groove, and then there's less chance that it's going to damage the cable in the future. Okay, let's go ahead and put back the touchpad, or sorry, the fingerprint reader. So get that in. Okay, just like that, it's in, and then slide your finger over to latch it. Then we got that one, same thing, goes in slightly at an angle, get that, and then slide your finger over to latch it down. All right, then the keyboard one, okay, depending how much slack you see, it goes out this weird diagonal, so we're gonna have to actually have the, we're gonna have to have the keyboard underneath. So make sure this latches up, make sure it's clean. Get that over. Okay, pull that all the way in, make sure it's flush. Slide your finger over to latch it, and you can slide it to make sure it's good. Okay, then you just go over here. You can actually see, actually there's no line on this one. Is it on the inside? I don't know. I don't see a line there. Anyways, this one we can just basically push it down flat. Okay, and there we go. And I think we got everything reconnected. Let's take a look. Most important is this, before you put in the battery, make sure this is in and it's in all the way. If you have anything crooked or anything, and if you plug in the battery, unplug it, and then you mess with this and you didn't drain the power again, you can again fry the backlight circuit and everything. So very important, you want to be very careful with that. Okay, so I think we got everything in now. Let's see, if you want to look at the old one, yeah, there's no line, they just fold it to make it fit. So okay, so now we're just going to get the battery back in, and then we should be good to go. Just make sure again that everything is reconnected. I think we're good. I'm going to see if I have some replacement screws that will fit, but I kind of doubt it because the Lenovo ones are kind of weird. They're T5 and they're the only ones that use that. Anyways, line that up, pinch that in. If you know the battery, don't flip it upside down again. You can see how the old battery was if you're replacing the battery. Oh, you're probably going to wonder what the battery model number is. It's right there, L19C3PD6. You can check yours, obviously. You don't have to go off of mine, or this isn't really my computer, it's a customer's. So yeah, if you're watching this video, just know I probably don't have this computer. So all right, anyways, we're gonna put the battery screws back in. So the battery has 4 screws, one on either side, or sorry, one on each corner pretty much. One there, one here, okay, one down here, and the last one up here. Then we'll replace the bottom screws. I don't know why or where the other screw went. I mean, I can't say like why it's the way it is, because maybe it just fell out that way. But usually you want the screws for the hinges. There was one in the middle and then one over here, but they didn't have this here. I'm gonna move the screws over if I can't find a replacement, and make it so that the screws are all towards that. All right, we're gonna push that all down. The way I do it is I'm actually pushing inwards as I'm pushing down. It's not really that visible, but that's what I'm doing, and that's the best way to push it in. All right, we're gonna switch back to the T5, Torx 5, and I'm gonna see if I have, I don't know what size screws those use. It's better to use smaller rather than longer, because you don't want it to go too far and damage stuff. So yeah, these, I don't have too many of this kind of screw. They're like really thin, and then they're super long, so I don't think I'm gonna have this kind of screw here. Maybe one, but it's very different, so it's shorter. So yeah, I don't think I have any spares that will work well with that. So we're just gonna leave that, and we'll put these in better spots. Okay, so we're gonna put this in the corner here, so that way it can actually hold the hinge down. Then we got the other one over here, same thing. Okay, and then we got the 4 along the front. We'll get those in. That one. And then obviously we're gonna power it up to make sure everything works. All right, if this video helped you out, again, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade or repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, again, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you can watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well. Even if you're just saying hi, or I saw your other video or whatever, just so the algorithm knows like people are engaging. I don't want to do all those weird clickbaity trick thingies where you purposely do things wrong and stuff so people comment to say you're stupid or whatever. So please, hopefully you guys can engage in the videos without me resorting to stuff like that. Anyways, we're gonna plug in the charger now. So they don't have the original charger, so I'm just gonna use a MacBook charger because they're just using a little random USB-C brick. So we'll plug this in. since we disconnected everything, the main battery also acts as the BIOS CMOS battery. If you notice, there wasn't one on the entire board anywhere. So plug that in. I do see the caps lock light on, so it's probably powering up. The keyboard's lit up. All right, so usually when you take the whole thing apart and take the battery out and everything, the BIOS CMOS is going to reset, so it's going to take a while to completely start up. I think it's starting itself up. So the keyboard is no longer on, but the caps lock light is still on. Pressing buttons, nothing's happening. Okay, I can actually see the charge light, so we did fix that right. You can see it's lighting up properly. And yeah, okay, I think the screen, I thought I saw the screen just come on, but maybe not. It's still black. Oh, there you go. So it gave a real-time clock error little thing up here, and then it disappeared, and now we're good. It's saying Friday, August 23rd, 5:07. Not sure if that's right, but yeah, as you can see, it's good. And let's see. Oh no. Okay, that scared me. I was like, the keyboard's not working. That's what I just changed. Okay, so yeah, up, down, everything should be good. I'm gonna have to log in to test it, but it should be good. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.